everyone in between. Welcome back to another episode of Books and Buds, where we discuss two of the greatest things on planet Earth, books and buds. Today we're going to be discussing a quick little novella. I'd say it's a novelette by my buddy Austin Valenzuela. Now, him and I connected on Instagram. We did a writer's lift together where we shared each other's blurbs for each other's books, and we shared the covers for their books. And as we did this, he realized that I'm a book reviewer on YouTube and asked me if I would please review his book. So he sent me a copy of it, and I read it, and I decided I will review it. Before we get to that, I'd like to introduce you to a few friends of mine. To either side of me, we have a couple girls by the name of Sour Diesel. Say hello, girls. Hi, everybody. Yeah, say hi. Hey. So anyways, those are Sour Diesel, and this one right here is a Blue Dream. We're going to try something new because the roots look fantastic. I mean, these have only been in the pots for a week, and we just don't want to go root bound. So they still got about 2.5, 3 weeks before they're supposed to get transplanted according to our schedule. So we bought some in-between pots. We got a whole bunch of them, about 50 of them. Just came in the mail. We're going to be transplanting those in a few days here. And we're going to see if between the half-gallon pots and the gallon pots, because they're 0.7 gallons, we're going to see how those roots turn out in that. And then we'll put them in their final pots in about 2 weeks after that. So we'll see what happens. And if it works out, there's only one way you can tell. You just test it out. You just weigh it out when you're done drying it, done curing it. Generally, we get about a half pound. Sometimes quite a bit more, but generally it's around a half pound per plant. If these produce better than that, then we'll know it's a good and effective technique that we'll continue to do from now on. Okay, on to Unholy. It's a gothic fantasy by Austin Valenzuela. Now, me and this guy connected on Instagram. We connected on Instagram, and he discovered that I am a book reviewer on YouTube. And he says, hey, I'd like you to review my book. And he found this out because we did a writer's lift together where he shared the cover to my book coming out. Not my book. I have a book coming out in a box set called Love Askew. It's a collection of over 20. About 26 of us are in it. 26 contemporary romance novels. So I'm trying to do everything I can to boost awareness of this box set, because it's only 99 cents for 26 books. Not stories. Books. These are actually a minimum of 15,000 words, and some of them are full-length novels. Mine happens to be a novella. It's about 30,000 words long, called Yesterday's Wounds. So I was trying to get some awareness out there, and I said, anyone that's willing to share the cover or the blurb and the blurb of my the box set that's coming out, I'll be happy to do the same for yours. So we did this on Instagram, and Austin just quickly discovered that I am a book reviewer here on YouTube, and he asked me to do him a favor, so I'm going to. I'm doing it right now. So I read it in a matter of days. It was basically a novelette. That's what I would say from it. So full disclosure, because I want you guys to trust me, I fully believe that this book could have been a lot longer. It's a fantasy. And though I've said many, many times that fantasy is not my favorite genre, I've read enough of it to know what should go into it. And generally speaking, fantasies are very, very thick books. He could have fit this into a very, very big book. He wrote it in such a short amount of time. He left so much room. He could have expanded on the characters, expanded on the story, went in depth about the settings and the surroundings that the characters were in. But with that said, I liked the story enough where I wanted to do a review on it. So, I just got done watching Game of Thrones about a few months ago, so I was having dragon withdrawals. This book satisfied that. It satisfied it because these children are in a school. There's two young boys and a girl. Now, the two young boys are both yellow robes, which means, white robes, which means that they still have a lot to learn. They haven't even passed the first test at the end of the year to get to the second set of robes. Kind of like earning your karate belts. In order to pass the very first test, you have to kill a dragon. Now, these dragons, they keep them caged, and you just have to pretty much go up to it and slice its head off, or slit its throat, and then its magic escapes into the room and you absorb the magic, and you have some of the dragon's magic down. The reason these children are having a lot of trouble, and this is, I think their second or third year in a row of being white belts, is because they can't pass this test. They don't want to be killers. They don't have anything against dragons. Well, they happen to stumble upon a young girl who's already a black cloak. So she's a very big star pupil in the school. She's very well known. she ends up sticking up for these boys against some bullies, and they become good friends. And she shows them where the dragons are kept. Now, the main boy, let me see. I wrote his name down here somewhere. I think one of them's name was Boyd, the woman's name was Ileana. I think the main character's name was, it started with an I. I don't remember. I'm a bad book reviewer. Anyways, the main character, he has a notebook from his father, and it's like magically things are filled in as he reads. So then, if somebody else should happen to stumble upon the book, the notes that his father left behind for him won't be read by the wrong eyes. So the father liked to write his findings down about certain dragons, certain breeds of dragons. And the boy is learning through the scripture that dragons aren't so bad. And later on in the story, they realize that dragons are actually, once upon a time, worked together with mankind. But then man got greedy and wanted to harness all that power to themselves. So that's what happens. The students are not allowed to leave the school grounds, even though they all know of this mysterious cathedral in the woods. And of course, they're told that all these monsters and beasts live out in those woods. Well, these children find themselves in a position where they have no choice but to leave school grounds. And in doing so, they find this cathedral where they happen to learn all the secrets. Now, this is what I'm talking about, where the book was just way too compact. They could have gotten to so many misadventures in these woods. That could have been book 2. Book 3 could have been what happened in the cathedral itself, honestly. And then book 4, if they could have done 4 book series out of this at least, could have been the battle that ensued back at the church. And of course, book 1 could have been the character development, the scene development, and everything else, where they develop the school and talk about some of the classes and introduce some other characters, not just the A and B characters, and of course the antagonist, but they could have, it's a fantasy novel, they could have introduced C characters all the way through Z characters and really got you into it. That's what fantasy typically does. You just get a lot of characters, there's a lot of background, it's just beautiful. So he hammered it into a really small book, and I'm hoping that someday he widens the breadth of this and releases either a very long epic novel or an epic series of these same characters, because I liked it a lot. And I'm really hoping that Austin takes my positive criticism to heart and decides to blossom as a writer, because I get the idea that he's a very young man, and I get the idea that he's going to be doing this for a long time. And I really want to see him take because he's very talented. He's very talented. He can weave a story. I want to see him take his craft to the next level and start producing these longer books, these wonderful novels, because I can tell he's got the talent. So everybody, this book is titled Unholy. It's a gothic fantasy by Austin Valenzuela. Now, I'm going to be leaving a link for it below. Please, at least consider having a look for it on Amazon. Read the reviews for yourself. I'm going to be leaving one because I liked it. I'll be giving it 4 stars. I try to do that for the books that I like. If it blows my mind and I really love it, I give it 5 stars. But if I want to give it 3 stars, I just won't review the book. Anything 3 or less, I won't do it. Unless I think that the writer is an actual cutthroat who's doing more damage to the business than good. But if I can tell they're trying and I still think it's a 3 or less, I won't bother. But he's getting a 4 because I did like it. I thought it was a great story, and it really it brought back a lot of memories of Harry Potter. And I've been missing those stories for many years now. It's been out of my life for a long time, and honestly, it brought me back to those days where these kids were going around Hogwarts. It was a whole different story, a whole different school, a whole different kids. But it still had that nice feel to it that I've been missing, and maybe some of you have been missing it too, so give this book a chance. Alright guys, again, keep an eye out for that box set. Love Askew. 26 contemporary romance books, novellas and novelettes, all for 99 cents. That's less than 5 cents a book. You're doing yourself a great disservice not to read it. All you have to do is lay down $1. And then even if you only find one book in there that you really like, you can just read the first page of all the rest of them and go, I don't like those. But if one of them blows your mind, it was only $1, and good on you. So thank you very much for your interest. Both links to Austin's book and the box set are down below. Thank you very much. I appreciate